we're going to be looking at ratios, okay, which is chapter 2. When we're doing ratios, we are looking, in maths, we're looking at comparing things. We're comparing the amount of something, we're comparing the speed of something, or the height of something, or the weight of something, or things, I should say. Can't compare just one, but you're comparing at least two, possibly more things. Let's have a look at a recipe that I like to do, and that's to make pasta. So if you're making, say, egg pasta, then you would use a ratio of 5 eggs with every 500 gram of flour. And you would have a pinch of salt, of course, but we won't include this. We'll just include this for an example. So when we write it as a ratio, we would write it this way. 5 is to, and notice what we say, and the colon is to 500. So we've got a ratio of 5 is to 500. For every 500 grams of flour, we have got 5 eggs. We can simplify this a little bit further if we want to make different amounts, and then we can move to an equivalent ratio by simplifying it. Now, as in fractions, we do to one side, we do exactly the same to the other, we'll keep the balance. The ratio will be the same. So if I just wanted to use 100 grams of flour, okay, 100 grams of flour, the 100 grams of flour, I would use 1 egg. Because what I've got here, simplified down, 5 goes into itself once and goes into that 100 times. Goes into that 100 times. So there I've got a ratio of 1 is to 100. Now it doesn't matter how much pasta I want to make, I could make it enough for weeks and weeks, or I could make enough for a whole lot of people, as long as I kept it in the ratio of 1 is to 100. And however much I want to take it out, that would be an equivalent ratio. So for every 100 grams of flour, I would use 1 egg. That's a ratio. 1 is to 100. Notice the way that it's written, and notice the way that it's said. 1 is to 100. If I want to make more than this amount of pasta, I can use an equivalent ratio. I just keep using that formula. Say I wanted to use 10 times that, that would be 1,000, which would be a kilo. 10 times that, then 10 times this. So for every 1,000 grams of flour, I would be using 10 eggs. Same ratio. Multiply that by 10, multiply that by 10, and I've got the same ratio. And that's called an equivalent ratio. And I write it the same way. I can simplify that down by going backwards. So what we've done is we've had a look at writing ratios and speaking ratios. For pasta, an egg type pasta would be 5 eggs for every 500 grams of flour. And I can simplify that by writing it, or I can write it simply by 5 is to 500. Then if I can simplify that down further, because what will go into this side, which will be the 5, will also go into this side. So it gives me a simplified ratio of 1 is to 100. 1 egg for every 100 grams of flour, pinch of salt. Easily done. If I want to increase the rate or the amount of pasta I want to make, I just multiply each side. This is 10 times that, and this is 10 times that. So 10 is to 1,000 is exactly the same as 1 is to 100, and it's the same as 5 is to 500. So notice the way it's written and the way that it's said when we're talking about ratios.